Welcome to Higgins Sandy Entertainment. I'm your host, Jason Higgins, and today we are going to be talking about my baby, Zoey. And for those of you that don't know who Zoey is, she's my dog. And the reason I call her she's my baby, she's family. And Zoey is just a little over 7 years old. She's a Beagle Greyhound mix, and she's a rescue. And she's actually laying right over there. And, she's not too thrilled when I get on this computer, no matter if it's like checking my emails, podcasts, games, whatever the situation is. She's, gives me that kind of look over there because I'm not paying attention to her. And, that's just how she gets sometimes. But, she's a little sassy, but she's the queen of the house, so, she kind of runs things. But yeah, she's just a little over 7 years old. Her birthday's back in March, and she's a rescue. I got her when she was just probably, I think, at the Humane Society. She was just a little under 6 months. She was found off the side of the road, and I was blessed enough to be able to bring her into my life. And I know I say I rescued her, but in all reality, she rescued me. I was going through a pretty tough time around that time, and mentally and physically I was just all over the place, and she came into my life at the perfect moment to get me back on track and kind of really give me a purpose in a sense. And she's amazing. And if you say the words like walk or grandma, truck ride, things like that, as you can see, her head just popped up. She'll bob her head back and forth because that's her favorite things. Or French fries. She loves French fries. And she's incredible. She definitely has a bark on her. When she gets excited, especially when we have like family cookouts and there's a lot of people around, she gets real hyper and she'll just run and run and run for days. Like my parents, they have, I believe, like 3 acres. And so she'll just run in the back for days, and she'll just run laps continuously. And luckily, so what I have on her is this, on her collar, is called the FI Smart Collar, which is really neat because you can track her steps. It's like has a profile, ranks her against other dogs in the state and the country. Has GPS tracking. That way, if she takes off, it's so much more. It has a lot better range, Bluetooth, than like an Apple tag, so to speak. It's really, really cool. So it's the FI app, and see, it kind of shows like right now she's at her home base, and it has a couple different areas you can kind of go into. And right now that's like shows her step counter, and it goes for the day, the week, month, year. So it's really cool. And so for, like yesterday, for example, I go back and she did 20,953 steps for the day. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. So, and like I said, it has like her own profile, so you can like post pictures and things like that. And you can follow other owners and other dogs on this app. And like they post like videos and things of that nature, which is really cool. So it's a really nifty app. I find myself on this app throughout the week because I want to make sure, like, obviously my dog is getting her steps in, which obviously keeps me active, because then when she's running and going for walks, usually I'm running and taking her for those walks. Now, if there's cats around outside, stray cats that hang outside the house, she's so that happens. But she's my baby, and I actually, funny story, she was kind of the decider if Amber was going to be the one for me or not, so to speak. And I'll kind of tell you a backstory. So, obviously, had, so to speak, exes in the past. and, or girls that I would be maybe potentially dating and bring them over or whatever the case. And if my dog did not like them, I would not date them. Simple as that. If my dog did not like you, I'm sorry, I just can't date you. So, and I had a couple girls that, I, you know, wanted to maybe potentially start talking to, and I, or went on a date or two with them, and then, brought them over to the house, and my dog just had a bad vibe about them, and then boom, sorry, you know, got to go at that point. I mean, it's not my choice. But with Amber, when she first met Zoey, she didn't bribe her, so to speak, but when she first met Zoey, I knew she was the one because when she came in, not only did she come right for the dog and was loving on her, petting her, but she brought toys. She brought toys, which was really neat. And so obviously, first impression, you're loving on her, bringing her toys, bringing her treats, and she was in heaven. So obviously, my dog was like, okay, Dad, I think she's okay. So, and Zoey is actually hilarious. She has her own personality, and I remember going on a run one time with her. We're running around the park that's close by where I live, and we're running behind the baseball field. And as we're getting towards the end of the baseball field, there's this bird that flies across, probably like eye level to me, and out of nowhere, my dog just jumps up in the air and snatches that bird out of the air and brings it back down. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? And she gets up, and this bird's just like on the ground, and she's just looking up at me like, what, Dad? What? Like, she literally jumped in the air and snatched this bird out of midair. Like Winter X Olympic Games. It was crazy. And she is so cute. She is a little bit of a romance blocker, so to speak. It's hard to kiss my wife sometimes, a lot of times in a row. You know how that goes. Because she over here tries to jump in the middle of it and tries to block that. And it's like, nope, got to keep it PG around here. But we know our ways, so. But she gets treats all the time. Her favorite human foods are probably French fries, pretzels. She loves chicken nuggets and pizza crust. Pizza crust are her favorite. And also every time I do grill me up a steak, I do grill her up a steak. So she does love steak. But she's amazing, and she's full of exercise. She's been to a few different states. She's been to several different places. I mean, she does really well. And actually, for the longest time, really we go on a lot of like trails, state parks, wildlife adventures, so to speak, to where there's usually not a lot of people. Maybe a few people, a few dogs, but mostly like deer, squirrels, and seeing animals like that. But earlier this month, the wife and I took her to Carmel, and we walked down Main Street. And, I mean, it was packed. I mean, we were probably around there from probably 6 p.m. to probably a little bit after 9. And, I mean, it was packed. I mean, people everywhere. And she did awesome. Like, for the first time, like, did awesome. And so many people would come up to her and was like, hey, can I pet your dog? Can I pet your dog? And she did really well. She does awesome with little kids. Now, if they have like little spray shampoos, like the little girl at the nursing home, she was scared to death of that, which is hilarious because she's a protector. She's very protective. And kind of a little story with that. We used to go for a lot of walks around where I live. And we don't really do that too much anymore because there's a pit bull that lived down the street. And I have nothing against pit bulls. And I'll say that first and foremost. I have nothing against pit bulls. When I worked for Child Protective Services, I went into so many houses that obviously that they have animals. And a majority of the time they would have a pit bull. And a lot of them are so lovable. I mean, they're amazing. And so I have nothing against pit bulls. I really don't. And so we just happened to be, walking, kind of jogging by the house up by the church, and the dog kind of got out, and it's usually on a chain, but it wasn't this time, and I didn't see it. And as we're walking by, the dog came out of nowhere and came up behind and jumped on and hit me in the back, knocked me down. Didn't bite at me or anything like that, just knocked me down, started barking. Well, my dog immediately turned around and charged at that pit bull, hit it square on the nose. And my dog had like the zebra mohawk going all the way down her spine with her hair, and all of her teeth were showing, and so the guy obviously came out, grabbed the pit bull. Nothing else happened after that. Later on down the week, I went and actually pet the pit bull and everything. It's a super nice dog, but it was guarding its house, it was guarding its yard. It's usually on a chain when it's out in the yard. Must have just got off it. Happens. So I wasn't upset about it, wasn't mad about it. But since then, my dog is very protective of me, especially around other dogs that, it's not that she doesn't know and she doesn't get her full inspection in. Because she does really well with Marley, my parents' dog. But when it comes to dogs that she doesn't know, she has to have that full inspection in. If she doesn't get a full inspection in, she's not having it. And, since then, she's been very protective of me, especially when we go on walks and runs. Her head's always on a swivel. But she's my baby. She's just a baby. She's just a baby. But she's just over there laying right now, just waiting for me to get done with this podcast so she can get some attention. And she's a daddy's girl. Her favorite toy is, of course, a zebra, because she takes after her dad. And, but she's my baby. And like I said, I know she's a rescue, but she rescued me. My wife loves her to death. Grandma loves her. She loves grandmas. Oh, my God. You just mentioned grandma, and she just goes nuts. And when grandma comes to pick her up, oh my gosh, she is hopping for days. And she does this thing where she can hop on her back legs just around the house like a bunny. It's really cute. And she also knows this thing where I say, Zoey, it's the cops. She'll run into the window. Like, she just perked her head up right now and is looking at the window. I'm surprised she's not barking. But she's looking out the window right now, which is cute. But she knows all these different tricks. She's super intelligent. She does have selective hearing at times, especially when it's warm outside and I have to go back to work. Sometimes she's like, no, sorry, not coming back inside. And I got to almost drag her in, almost. Don't really drag her in, just kind of say, I got treats. And she kind of follows suit. But that's my dog. It's my baby. That's my family. She was in my life through COVID. She's a COVID puppy. That says a lot. And especially through everyone who went through COVID or had COVID, you know how that was. You know how that felt and what you kind of went through. And, what they say about those COVID puppies, that, they got you through a lot. And she's got me through a lot in my life. And especially when I felt like I didn't have anyone and I was struggling mentally and going through a lot of hardship, I felt like, I could just take her for a walk and wrestle with her, go through a lot of adventures, shoot baskets. She's my number one fan. She's awesome. She's my baby. It's my dog, Zoey. So I just kind of wanted to do a podcast about her because, one, she deserves it. And, it's my podcast. So I guess I can talk about what I want, right? So, Higgins Sanity Entertainment. Please follow, subscribe. You can catch me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I got a lot in store for you, and I got some exciting things coming down the line, and I'm excited to share those with you. So please follow and subscribe. Have a lovely week. Stay great. And like I said, we're inspiring minds and entertaining lives out here. Higgins Sandy Entertainment.